Hi folks, me again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, hi. Please remember to drop a comment or like or subscribe or something. Just do something. Thank you. So today I just want to briefly make a video about what my process was like to get in a master's program in Sweden. I graduated like 9 months or so ago, so I'm going to try to remember as much as I can, but I'm basically just going to give like the most important part of the journey. So I had my BSc from Alesinloye-King University in 2017, and I had, at that point I knew I wanted a master's degree, non-negotiable. You cannot tell your parents that you're not going to do masters. How? You will do masters whether you like it or not. So but at that point I didn't know what I wanted to do as masters. Okay, I was always like, oh, forensic science, I did anatomy, so like, oh, forensic science, I wanted to be a forensic scientist, blah blah blah. You do autopsies, crime scene investigation, all of that nice stuff. But I think as I went on in my career, working, volunteering with organizations, I realized that I had a very different interest from what I thought I had. And I remember that at some point I was like, you know what, I think it's just best to try to gather some form of experience, some form of professional experience, or at least volunteering experience, workshop, before you go and do a master's, because the idea behind the master's program is to master a particular skill. You want to master it, the educational part of it. So at this point I was already volunteering for stuff in this area of sexual and reproductive health. I started in school anyways, but I didn't realize that I didn't think it was something that I could make a career out of, because I didn't see so many people making a career out of it. So I thought maybe it was just a side something. So I remember, my first job so quick story, when I went to serve my NYC, I remember when they were asking me what I wanted to do. And I said, oh, this is what I currently do. This is what I have passion for. And the man was like, how do you want to make money from it? And I was like, crickets. I had no idea. I did not know how I was going to make money from this. All I knew was that I loved doing this. I had never thought about it. And at that point I started thinking, wait, how am I going to make money from this? I mean, I know that I enjoy doing this, but then how do I make a living out of this? As God would have it, I think I got a job 2 months later as a research assistant in that particular field. God has a very big sense of humor. I got a job as a research assistant, and I absolutely enjoyed it. After that, I worked as a research consultant again, with another international NGO in Nigeria, and I was like, okay, I finally know what I can do with my life, and alongside this, I kept on volunteering. I was doing online advocacies. My voice was very, very loud, in fact, online advocacies, and the whole 9 yards. So sometime in 2019, I think 2020, I started looking out for, maybe 19 or 20, I started looking out for schools where I knew that I wanted to do a master's, but I didn't want to do public health like everybody was doing public health. Everybody I knew, and it was so annoying. For people that know me, I do not like to do what everybody's doing. So everybody's going like this. Trust me to go like this or like this. I didn't want to do public health. In fact, I had friends, some of my friends were like, just go and do public health, when you get in there, you will specialize, blah, blah, blah. Thank God I did not do that, because it is until you enter, you realize that you really cannot specialize, quote and unquote. You cannot specialize. Don't let them deceive you. I really wanted to do a master's program in sexual and reproductive health. And this was a very, very new area for a lot of countries. So this was a very, very new area, meaning that not a lot of schools offered it. I think just 5 schools in 5 countries in the world were running this course, and only maybe like 1 or 2 schools. The UK had 3 schools offering I think they had St. Margaret's University, Edinburgh. They had Liverpool School of, I think maybe School of Tropical Medicine or something, and there was London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Those are the only three schools in the UK. And then I think there was one school in Australia, and there was KIT in Switzerland. Yeah. So I applied to KIT. I applied to those schools in the UK. You know, I applied to a couple of scholarships. I applied to Chevening. I applied to Commonwealth. Nothing. I didn't get anything. The schools gave me admission. At least Liverpool gave me admission. Queen Margaret's gave me admission. But since I didn't get scholarship, I couldn't go because where am I going to see? Where am I going to see like 10,000, 12,000 pounds to go to school? I did not come from a very rich family, so I had to defer my admission. At least maybe the next year I'll get a scholarship. KIT responded. I think it's KIT, and they were like, "Oh, you do not have enough experience, so we don't want you." They didn't pain me. I was very pained, but then we moved. So I think the next year I deferred my admission to those two schools till like the next year. I think next year was 2020. Yeah, I applied in 2019. Yes. And then the next year, 2020, I tried to reapply again for these scholarships. I applied for just Chevening. They didn't select me again. I probably wasn't good enough for them, so I wasn't selected, and I now started to try to see how I could explore other options to pay fees and everything, but I still couldn't because it was a lot of money. So I gave up on the idea at that point because I didn't want to do public health. I knew that if I had applied for a public health course, it would have been easier for me to get a scholarship because there's so many schools, so many scholarships for public health courses. But I didn't want to do it because I knew I wanted to do sexual and reproductive health. In fact, I really wanted to do it. I was not going to change my mind. My friends know that I have coconut head, so whenever I put my mind to something, if I don't do that thing, I always do it. So I think sometime in 2000 and at the beginning of 2000 and at the tail end of 2020, I started to consider other schools, Scandinavian schools, and to check if they were offering these courses. So I stumbled upon Dalarna University in Sweden, and they were offering. So Dalarna and Lund University were doing sexual and reproductive health. Dalarna was doing it for just 1 year. I think Lund was 2 years, but I wasn't about to do a master's for 2 years. Why am I being in school for that long? So I applied to Dalarna. I felt like at least their fees would be cheaper. So at this point, I had also started working as I started working as a country consultant for an international organization. I started working as a Nigerian country consultant, and I was getting paid in foreign currency. So that meant I could start to save up for school. So when I started looking at Dalarna University, I tried to look at their fees. I was like, okay, something I should be able to manage it, because I just had this strong nudge in my spirit that it was either I do that master's now or I would not do it again. I don't know. I think it was just God that was pushing me to do it. So I remember getting an admission. I think I was placed on a waiting list for some weeks. Then I got my admission in early 2021. I got my admission then, and because I didn't apply on time, I applied maybe like second batch. I couldn't get like very plenty scholarship or tuition reduction. I think the tuition reduction I got was about 22% off. The school fees was about 141,000 Swedish krona, and they gave me 30k off. So that meant it was still a lot of money. So the plan was go to Sweden, get my education and try to also work to make the money back. But I remember that when I got my admission, I had to pay the fees so that I could start the visa processing ASAP. And I remember my mom getting a loan for me from her cooperative. My aunt gave me some money at that point. She also loaned me some money at that point just to be able to pay that advance fee at that time. So the next step was to start preparing. So I paid for that, and they gave me my admission letter, and that was what I was going to use to apply for my visa. So I was in the process of this when on August 1st, I lost my mother, my sole financier, my everything. And that basically took like the trajectory of my life from like, my life was going like this. And it was just like, and I couldn't travel because for various reasons. I couldn't travel again to Sweden. I had to be back. I had to stay back because I was supposed to resume in August. I think August 31st. So I had to stay back, try to handle some things since my mother was no longer there and I was the eldest daughter. So I remember that at that point I wanted to actually withdraw my admission and tell them that I'm not interested again. I'm not joining. But then, I had even started the process. I reached out to the school the coordinator of the department. He told me what to do. And then I remember talking to a friend and he was like, you should just actually do this thing because you never can tell when you will have the opportunity to do it again. And then the fact that exchange rate was getting worse every day. So I was like, you know what? It's online. It's not so bad as long as I get the degree. So I enrolled. I started the program online. It wasn't so easy, but then I think me being introverted really helped because, of course, me always being at home, I enjoyed it. And I had to pay the fees. I remember that I had to pay the fees, the balance before the end of 2021. Remember that I paid the advance at the beginning of 2021, and in total I think everything I paid was about $15,000, which was a lot of money. It wasn't small money, it was a lot. But then, there's something I always say: dream, God can fund it. So basically God funded it. Of course the money came from my pockets, but then it was God that I actually didn't know how, because a year before this I would never have thought that I'll pay school fees of $15,000. Nibo, where do I see the money from? But then God was good, God raised the helpers. I was able to pay the money. It was a very rocky journey, because losing my mother, I didn't have time to grieve. I was working for the first semester of my school. I was working full time. So I was working, I was grieving, I was studying also at the same time. It was a lot, but for the rest of my school year, for the rest of my program, I wasn't working full time. So I had a little bit of respite from the whole process and everything. And eventually, it was interesting. I enjoyed the program. I had a reading partner that made life easy for me, especially with the fact that this was a new terrain and I hadn't particularly the whole master's thing, research. What did I know about research? But anyways, on the 2nd of June, I graduated from my master's program. Although my school does not give you class of degree, maybe merit or distinction, but later on, when I evaluated with Wes, I realized that I graduated with a distinction. So I'm sure that my mother is proud of me, and my $15,000 is not going to waste. So yeah, that's just a brief story of how I got my master's program. I was able to pay for it. I didn't make this video soon enough. I would have had more details, but that is all I can remember for now. That's all I can remember for now. Yeah. If you have any questions, if there are any specific questions that you feel I should have answered or I can answer, you can drop it in the comment section and I'll get to it. So yes, I'm just going to leave you with this parting message: dream, God can fund it. Bye. Don't forget to share this video and like and subscribe and just do something. Share with other people. Bye.